Electricast.
There are people out there all across the country pushing boundaries to grow the game of golf. Like champion speed golfer Lauren Cupp, who plays faster than anyone else. And Will Lowry, whose work in the golf community inspires more kids to get into the game. As a champion partner of the Masters, Bank of America supports everyone determined to find out what's possible. In golf and in life. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America. Bank of America N.A. member FDIC, copyright 2025, Bank of America Corporation, all rights reserved.
The kids are still at practice, and I have no idea what's for dinner.
You can get a rotisserie chicken and 2 sides for just $15 in as fast as an hour with Walmart Express Delivery.
Who said that? Who's in my house? Don't play with me, because I'm not the one.
It's just your friendly Walmart announcer. This is a commercial.
Oh, okay. You were saying dinner for a family was just $15?
Yep, it'll be at your door by the time you get the kids home from practice. Order now. Welcome to your Walmart. Subject to availability, restrictions and fees apply.
Now that was a helpful commercial.
Hello and welcome to the next edition of NTP. I am Untitled Rayshawn Buchanan with my guy, my brother DK Sizzle. How you doing this afternoon? This afternoon. What's afternoon where you're at? It's the evening where I'm at. But how you doing, man?
It could be any time for any of the audience listening, really. You know, I mean,
So
the internet is a permanent place.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it all works out as far as I'm concerned. I'm doing well. I'm glad to be here, subbing in for Mr. Marcangelo on the New England Patriots chat. I did get out of the Rhamondre Stevenson business today. I traded him. So it was.
He actually came off a good game, though.
Well, that's why I traded him. You know, you gotta sell high.
So high, got you right. Yeah.
Yeah, I needed a tight end, and as much as I appreciate you trading him to me, you know, it was a brief love affair. That doesn't mean I am not still invested in the future hopes of the team. I still want them to do good, and I'm here to talk about them.
Yeah, I mean, well, who knows? Maybe this is a day that will live in infamy. You know, we'll see as time progresses. But unfortunately, you know, they did fall to 1-4. They lost to Miami 15-10 on Sunday as we're recording this. It's crazy, man. I thought that was a touchdown for Polk. I understand that the rule has different things, but I feel like the NFL has not known what a kick was since definitely the Des Bryant game.
I get why it wasn't, but
Yeah.
I was surprised, to be totally honest with you, especially because of some of the pretty abhorrent calls across the league and how, especially pass interference, I think that's the big theme of the year this year. There's just been there's games where they're calling every touch after 5 yards, and there's games where they're just letting absolutely everything go, and they're inconsistent inside the game. So I can understand feeling frustrated with that call, especially because it obviously would have decided the game if you look at the whole thing in context. And you know, I don't mean to always be this guy, but it was a good. I don't know if your receivers are that bad. Like, I thought that they made some decent plays. I guess what I'm trying to say is, it became very obvious that the quarterback play was your issue, right, in this game. And I know that you've been saying this. And I know a lot of New England fans have been saying this like over the past few weeks, but I think that this, to us laymen, to us people sort of existing outside of the watching the Patriots every single day, like training camp updates, you know, like I would do for the Bears. Right. You can only have bandwidth for that for one team. So yeah, I thought it was a catch too, but I thought it was a nice play. I thought your receivers looked kind of half decent, but it just became pretty glaringly obvious that Brissett's just not at a caliber anymore.
And that's the thing though, right? Like, obviously he had some good years in Indianapolis. I think he had a couple of good games in his stints in Cleveland and Miami.
One of those guys, right?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So a guy that's gonna have one of those, or, you know, one or two of those a season, right? Once again, cool. It just he's one of those guys, especially now at this stage of his career, that everything has to be lined up perfectly in order for things to go well. And that's fine. But to expect myself and many other Patriot fans to be patient with that is wild, because we don't have to be. And
but aren't you tanking? This is what I'm curious about. Like, and I know since I'm filling in for Mike, I just want to take this position for a second because are you not in a full rebuild? What is the you know, the way everyone keeps asking the Republicans if they lost the 2020 election and they keep giving a half answer. Like, did they lose the election? Yes. Are you in a full rebuild too? Wouldn't you rather lose the most games? I thought that's what we talked about. So fucking just keep playing Brissett. That's the way home.
Well, yes, I think that if that's the case. Obviously, like I said, I've mentioned about getting Will Campbell from LSU. Obviously, Travis Hunter's a name.
Is he a left tackle?
Yeah, Will Campbell, from LSU.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
He's like the best left. He's like the top 5 left tackles. That's who you guys want to get for sure.
Yeah. So that is obviously needed. But the thing is, just even looking at the core of this line, I'm not 100% sold that even getting him would make it that much better. Once again, would they improve? Obviously, but to me, I mean, the way Travis Hunter's played and some other guys on the top of that list has played, it might be a way to go in a different direction. But needless to say, man, they are in the rebuild there. But my thing is, like I said, Mike and I have talked about this and we agreed on this after we had our arguments about it. But it's more so about how do you look in the losses? And
totally.
Once again, obviously they won the Cincinnati game. They did enough to win there. They closed out there, even though they lost the Seattle game, but they were competitive for the most part in that game as well. Then you get to the Jets game, you get to the 49ers game, and then this game here on Sunday. And for the most part, it looks ugly right now. Obviously, 15-10 is not, a barn burner. So you're not speaking about them getting blown out the building, but it's another example of them not closing at home. And that looms to a bigger problem because, when we talk about it, when we met earlier today, it's like, they're 18, and I got this off StatMuse. It's like they're 18-24 in the last 5 years in Gillette. That's unreal to me. And I think because it's back to 2019, so that's including, Brady being there too. So it's like this. There's been this fall off there where teams come in there and they think it's real sweet. So I don't know what the root of it is. Like I said, there was some games that Brady was there for it too, so it wasn't like it was just because he left. But it's unbelievable how far they've fallen off at home. Once again, bad teams usually find a way to win 1 or 2 at home because they just kind of will their way or let their way into a win. But they just can't close at home. And I'm just like, that has me depressed at times because I'm just like, it was never a concern. It was never a concern where, even your team, man, y'all came in here a couple years ago. You put your feet up on the couch. You went and got a couple of sandwiches. You had something to drink. And you came in here and won by 20. And
it was like the only time I'd ever seen.
It's crazy.
It was the only time in my lifetime I ever. Obviously, we don't play each other a ton. We play probably every 4 or 5 years or so on average in the regular season. It was the only time I might be forgetting one, but it's the only time I can remember the Bears coming into Gillette and winning. Never mind shitting on you guys the way we did. And the thing about it too is I remember the Pats. I want to say it was 2011 or 2012. It had to be a little sooner than that, maybe because Urlacher was still there and he was still in his prime. Maybe let's call it 2010. The Pats came to Soldier Field and it was snowing like a motherfucker. It was probably November or December. And it was really coming down. And I was talking all this mess to my friends, all my Pats fans that I was surrounded by, still living in Mass at the time, going Chicago weather's different, but it's different. It's got it's a different kind of snow. And lo and behold, the Patriots, Bill Belichick, Tom Brady came in and just made the Bears play such mistake-heavy football. They were slipping and sliding like they'd never seen a drop of snow. They were getting exploited in places. That's what Belichick would always do you that favor, right? He'd always tell you what was really wrong with your team when he was in his prime. He would come in and he'd be like, we're going to exploit this. And you'd be like, shit, I didn't realize we had such gaps in X, Y, or Z, right? And on the theme of mistake-prone football, from my perspective, I've been sort of enjoying watching a new era emerge in New England, or at least the idea of it. And I made the point to you guys at the start of the season before a ball had been kicked that the thing you really want to see is good coaching this year. You want to see reactive, solid X's and O's stuff from Mayo and his staff, because that's the thing. The manner of the losses in that sense is kind of an indicator of how you're going to look going forward, right? So across the first 4 games, I wouldn't have criticized the coaching staff all that much. I'd say I'd even praise them in the first game in the way that they came out and played the Seahawks. I thought it was a really good game plan. I thought he had the team ready earlier than a lot of teams seem to be ready, which with this 18-game season, or with this 17-game season, the first playoff game being your 18th game, you have to make sure to sort of take off gently from the runway so that your entire team doesn't go to shit. The preseason means less now. And you can tell most teams around the league are sort of getting it together a little bit across the first, like at least 2 to 3 games. And I thought the Patriots looked really ready. Unfortunately, I do have this thing in my head when a team is playing mistake-prone football. If there's no outside context, like they're in the fucking Legion of Boom, it's 2012, and they're a normally mistake-free team playing in Seattle, or it's a super high pressure situation and some guys go to shit and like the leadership doesn't step up in a regular season game against a divisional opponent. The amount of mistake-prone football you guys played. I thought it was isolated to individual players. Rhamondre Stevenson obviously going on that streak of fumbles prior to this week that you guys told me about. After you traded him to me, it's okay. It's all right. I got rid of him. It's fine. I had to cut my losses. The mistakes were all over the field. Really, really bad timing. The very first quarter, giving really good field position away to a Dolphins team that sorely needs it because they're down a lot of their potency without the guy they've basically designed the offense around. Yeah, obviously there's a shit ton of weapons, but everything they do is Tua-centric, right? So everything that they kind of run is let's maximize Tua's abilities to help us like win a game or not lose it. So you did him a lot of favors throughout the game. A good reply by Rhamondre and a good run, of course, from my bench. And overall, not a great game of football to watch, which I think we sort of knew going in. But it was the mistakes, Ray, honestly, that got to me because it's like, all right, now I'm starting to feel like they've quit on them. Like nobody's talking to each other. The body language isn't great. And all of a sudden, this team that looked pretty prepared from where I was sitting week one looks a little lost out there, a little in need of leadership and guidance.
Right. And I think that's what ties into what we can get into next is, Evan Lazaro, who's been a Patriot insider the last several years, he's really risen through the ranks and now does the Patriots All 22 podcast, came out with a report last week talking about how they were on the verge of mutiny. And so you can see it get pulled off the Patriots website. It gets pulled off Spotify and any other streaming platform. And, it was speaking to a lot of what you just said, right? So now you had Devon Goshow saying, oh, like guys are playing selfish and, guys are very comfortable speaking their minds about how the team is not performing and not doing certain things they may have done in the past. And once again, it wasn't any different last year, right? Obviously it was on the bill, but you had guys on the defense that were mad about how things were going offensively. And, it's led, once again, this is the third year in a row they've been 1-4. And I wanted to bring that particular point up because the fact that there's some that's been in the media, there's some that's been on Twitter and any other platform saying like, oh, like had Bill been here, like they wouldn't be 1-4. Yes, they would, because they were 1-4 the last 3 seasons. Like, let's not have revisionist history. Let's not make it seem like the team was that much better coming into this year. So let's just pump the brakes on that. So I just want to put that out there. But yeah, I just think, I don't know. I mean, do you feel like, and you kind of alluded to it already, but do you think that there is something where it's kind of falling apart at the seams? Because once again, this used to be a thing that used to be very airtight. You didn't know what was going on down there, behind the scenes. But now with these different reports coming out, just what do you think Mayo can do in order to get the locker room back? And once again, we're going to speak about something else that happened very shortly. But just on the surface, what do you think he can do, or the coaching staff in general can do to make them more formidable going forward?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be curious who anytime there's a mutiny in any sort, or if you want to use that term, or any a rebellion, an uprising, the people who, the proletariat rise up and they have things to say. There's always ringleaders, right? There's always a few people that are sort of whipping up the masses to be like, this is bullshit, right? Like, we don't like this, right? And I would just be really curious to see who's fucking mouthing off in the Patriots locker room, because I think there's a good chance if there's 2 or 3 of them that you could look at them and be like, I don't know what you're fucking saying, dude. You've been playing like shit. You know what I mean? And like, is it a question of character to sort of blame thee and not me when you're making mistakes or not playing your best football. I mean, I could see a case for it being the coaching staff not putting these guys in great positions to win, but at the same time, like, we know that roster isn't filled with a ton of talent. I think you're still seeing guys like Gonzalez made a really nice pick. I want to say it was like second or third quarter, like somewhere around the middle of the game. He really came across and like picked the ball up really nicely. Now, yeah, obviously he's picking off Joe fucking Schmo coming in off the street.
It was on Beckham. So I mean, I'm great. I know Beckham's not what he once was, but he's still
but it's not their starting QB is my point. And it's like I meant the
receiver. Now I'm not talking about the quarterback. I'm saying it was on.
Yeah. Right. But it's he made a nice play. And at the end of the day, I think the good players are still making plays. Like, you have Rhamondre on one side, Gonzalez on the other, and those are pretty much the guys you're going to see on the stat sheet conceivably going forward, right? So, I don't know what else what when you ask me the question, what can they do to start getting them to do better or to prevent like a mutiny or whatever? I don't know, level with them that like that we're here to try and get a really high draft pick. You know what I mean? Like, I know you're not supposed to say this shit out loud. I get it, but it's like, I don't know, man. Can you guys just collect your paychecks this year? And we'll just make an effort going forward. And it still makes no sense to me to like play Drake May, because it's like, okay, now we recognize the situation is truly dysfunctional. The odds are increasing. I'm not saying this is a guarantee, but the odds are increasing that Mayo will not be the head coach come the start of next season if it does seem to be going this direction and not just sort of a handshake deal about a tank. If it seems like they are letting him get blamed, then
Yeah, I don't think to that point, because
I know Kraft had to keep a promise to him to hire him, but would you be so pissed if they were like, Mike Vrabel's going to be the coach? You know what I mean?
The only thing is with that, and once again, because he's all about optics, meaning Robert Kraft is all about optics. The backlash they will receive that you let a guy here be for 24 years, you've seen him go 5-11, you've seen him, on the way out be pretty terrible, especially as a GM. You can't have that optic saying like, okay, well, yeah, we gave him a year. Okay, you did it, but thanks for the memories.
If he loses the locker room and you can justify it and just say, well, we gave the other guy 24 years because he won us 6 fucking championships,
No, right, correct. But I don't know. I mean, once again, from a business standpoint, yes, I think that would be true. That would make sense. But we know how they operate down there. There's no way. This is only the third head coach that Kraft has had in 30 years, right? So it's Pete Carroll, fourth. So Pete Carroll. Oh no, it's third. Pete Carroll, Bill, and then Gerard Mayo. So he does not do change like that. So I don't see, once again, we're not on the Steelers level in that regard, but I don't see that happening unless they went like 0-17, which like I had woefully predicted early in the season. I think maybe that would have had a conversation behind that because it for sure would have been warranted then. But it just goes back to what we said about the locker room. It's like, yo, you can't have guys out there on a weekly basis, and this ties into us talking about Drake May. So I appreciate you bringing that up. But it's like, yo, you cannot have
he's
guys
starting, right? That's official. He's starting on Sunday.
Yes, officially. I think from Schefter reported it earlier, or Ian Rappaport, one of the two. Either way, one of the high football guys, the Wojers of football, the Shams of football now, have got that out there. But you can't have guys putting their body on the line week after week and saying, hey, like, we appreciate this, we appreciate that. It will take them to the hill. That's the thing they were saying earlier in the year. Take them to the hill. You can't have that happen. And then, you're seeing the offense be putrid at times. Once again, the defense is only that bad because they're on the field forever and a day. Once again, had they had some players they wish they had back? Of course, every defense has that. But they've been exposed more because of the offense being so putrid. So something had to be done, right? And once again, is it an end-all be-all things to be fixed with Drake May? Absolutely not. I want to be clear in saying that. Am I happy that he's starting? Absolutely. But, just from the outside looking in, we've talked about him at length before on the show. I think you and I was on here when we did the draft thing, we did the draft show, back in April, and he fell still within at 3. So just now with it being official, with him being the starter for Sunday against the Texans, just what do you see him bringing realistically? Because obviously there's going to be people that think that he's supposed to come out there and be the savior. And to that I say, you need to pump the brakes. But just realistically, from an outside perspective, what do you envision him doing come Sunday?
I don't think it's going to be pretty, man. I'm going to level with you. I think that the Texans clicked this week. I think that they were looking, they took him a second. It took him a second to get the engine off the ground. Not that they weren't winning games. It's just that they needed to lock in. And I think I saw that happen. And I think that that's a tough game to be coming into for your first NFL start, is like a pretty humming Texans team led by like a second-year guy who I'm sure is, got all the time in the world for you because he can relate to your experience, being a first-time starter. CJ Stroud didn't have a very good first game. I wouldn't panic or anything, to be honest with you, because like you just are going to have the built-in excuse of the fact that he's in a terrible situation. So anything he does is upside, right? If he makes any sort of play, it's upside. So you can look at the few things that he can do that are elite. I think that he's got the kind of size and athleticism. Obviously, we heard a lot of Josh Allen comps, right, about him coming out of the draft, and I think the size and athleticism could, at the very minimum, result in some fun plays to watch. I hope they keep him safe and protected. I hope they roll out a lot. I hope they try to get him to. I honestly put him in sort of the positions that Brissett was getting put in, and he just kind of didn't really have it, to make the plays. And I think May can probably get used to it. Learn some NFL defenses. Give him as much as you think he's able to, as far as like at the line calls and like playbook stuff. But basically, it's just like it's time to. I guess the logic has to be. I mean, I don't know if I would do it, but the logic has to be we're going to get him used to the NFL. Like he's going to get in there and he's going to get up to game speed. And I don't think it's going to happen in this game. It would be pretty shocking. It does. I've never really seen that. Like somebody be able to come in one game when everyone's kind of starting to heat up and come into like the sort of the meat of the season. Right. It's going to be a real challenging game for him. And what I hope people don't do is overreact if he doesn't win the game for the Pats. Like you guys aren't supposed to win.
Listen, I mean, that's whether they win or lose, like there's gonna be overreactions either way.
But I mean, it just doesn't make sense, right? Like it's you and I agree.
Well, of course it doesn't, Dave. But this is the win, and like I said, people are super desperate. So yes, of course it doesn't make sense. Of course it makes sense, but there's no way that people won't overreact either way. This is my thing, right? Once again, I've been clamoring for this since the summertime. I didn't believe. There was no way you were going to convince me that Brissett was always the best option for this year. I'm sorry. So whether you were saying it to me, Mike saying it, whoever, like if that was the angle, you already lost me, because I'm just like, that to me is a joke. That's comedy. Now, if you were saying, hey, we need him to learn the mental aspect of the game, how to come in, how to connect with teammates, how to be in meetings, okay, cool. But that was never said. It was just saying Jacoby Brissett was the best option for this team, and that was fucking insane. I'm sorry. Like there's no other way to say it. There's no other way to.
It doesn't read super well, like that they watched hours of him throwing the ball and moving around in training camp and in preseason, and didn't see that he obviously was not NFL scratch anymore. He's just not at that level anymore. So it's very, and it was a little sad towards the end of the last game, the Dolphins game, where it was sort of dawning on me as I was watching it, like, oh, this poor bastard's just like not good enough. Like,
and it's like, once again, but that was always the case. So it's just like, it's 160, 130, 75. It's just like there's no. Once again, Drake May just at the core just gives the threat. Like I go back to the preseason game, the last one they had against Washington. Down there at FedEx Field. Well, it's not FedEx Field anymore, whatever it's called, but I remember it as FedEx Field. There was a play, and that granted it didn't count because I think there was a hold or whatever happened. But he rolls out to the left, and he found KJ Osborne on the left hand side through like a 40-yard rope running to the left. And I'm like, regardless of what goes down, There's not a quarterback on this team that can do what we just saw happen right there. Once again, that's not a thing, not possible. So I'm just like, yo, there's certain things to the ability to extend the play. Who knows? Maybe him being the shotgun and them going empty, maybe they have a different look now. Once again, now Kendrick Bourne's back. Polk has emerged. I don't know. Listen, a lot of us were high on Javon Baker coming in. I don't know. It's real quiet right now. As my students will say, it's real quiet. Which I'll say.
I do like that Hunter Henry. I do like that Hunter Henry played like 58 of 60 snaps. Yeah. I like that he's the kind of tight end where it's like he's been awesome since he's been a workhorse. Yeah, I mean, it's like you can put him in blocking situations, you can put him in extra backfield situations, you can get 4 yards with him over the middle. He's reliable. He's got reliable hands. Stuff like that is stuff you got to give. Now, it didn't work out this way for my rookie QB, but because we just started throwing to the guys that were really good, fast fucking wide receivers, I guess. But there's more on that later. But the thing you got to do is you got to give him a reliable check down option to just have in his back pocket on most of the plays that you run, and it's just you get him into rhythm. Yeah, it could be Gibson. It could be Gibson as a gadget guy out of the backfield on later downs. I would probably prefer personally, just because of the football I like to watch play. The fullbacks and tight. Do you guys have a fullback, like an official fullback?
No, I mean James Devlin was the last guy that really was through here, but I
think fullbacks are making a big resurgence. I think they're. I
think they should. We've seen it in Baltimore, right, and even in San Francisco with Juszczyk,
blasting game. He's good.
Yeah, you should. If you're running an I formation type of offense, like which I think Rhamondre or Gibson would do really well. Especially
you should have you have a built-in lead blocker, and if the guy has a little bit of speed now, like there's those guys that they're probably were running backs, right? But if they have a little bit of speed and they seem to have good blocking footwork, there's no reason not to give your guy an extra pair of hands back there, you know what I mean?
Or even on Madden, shout out to the Madden that full house package where you have the running back, 2 tight ends, and then
that's right.
Yeah. So maybe make that a thing. I don't know, but
I got it. Well, that's kind of leading to my overall point. Is like just give him a simple offense to run.
Yes,
and give him the keys to that offense. I think is the sort of the way to do it. I think.
But it's got to be. It's got to be 3-step drops for everything, right? Like there should nothing be unless you're doing a play action. Yeah. Once again, this team
double read, no, we don't need to do any fancy eye work. We don't have to hitch. We don't have to do anything.
None of that.
Where the guy's going to be. I mean, Jesus Christ, that's how Tom Brady ran a fucking offense for like a million years, and we call him the greatest quarterback.
But remember early on, because people that can't stand Tom love to bring it up. So whatever, we'll bring it up here too. He was Mr. Dink and Dunk to a lot of people.
100%.
You check down Charlie, he's throwing 5
It's all the same shit you're hearing about Brock Purdy now. Right. It's all the same shit.
It's like, hey, like that got them to 3 out of 4 Super Bowls.
We see that it worked.
Yeah, I mean, literally, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's not get crazy. So I don't know. I just think to me, he's gonna have some players where it wows you, like you said. Everything is gonna be upside that's positive. Once again, hopefully they keep him upright. But once again, I want to go get to the line before we get into your team, because I want to give proper time to y'all, because you guys look good. You guys look really good right now. With this line, they've proven, regardless of who's been in the lineup, they can run block for the most part. Like if they
that's what I was saying preseason. Like is just make sure your guys have that kind of right off the line forward kind of running ability. They don't need pass blocking's harder. Pass blocking's footwork, dropping in, spacing, awareness, reads, like slingshotting to the outside. Pass blocking is not easy. I mean, I'm not saying run blocking is. I couldn't fucking do it, but keep it simple. If your line isn't rostered out to the level that you want it to be.
Right. And obviously, if you have to keep in Hooper on the left side or keep Hunter Henry on the left side, like whatever it may be, have an uneven, line there, depending on how you stack up the tight ends, be creative in how you scheme the blocking. They do run a West Coast offense. So it's just more like the zone reads, zone runs. Once again, we don't have the big linemen like Denver used to have back in the day running the zone offense. So I get it. But at the same time, we have some guys that can be active and do that. So you just have to scheme around that. And whether you're throwing a little bit more screens, but not having guys rush up the field so quickly because that makes it predictable. Run a bubble screen. Once again, they got Pop Douglas a lot more involved. I think Pop Douglas has a big
fucking hate bubble screens. Can I just say, this is not your fault, and it's not even like objectively true, but like fucking Matt Nagy would have rookie Justin Fields throwing these absolute ducks to bubble screens to whoever the fuck was out there, Darnell Mooney, and just be like, all right, you got 2 guys blocking for you. Good luck. And then it would just always inevitably just get tackled after like a yard.
You got to have a guy. I mean, Darnell Mooney is a really good receiver, but it's like you got to have those guys that are super simply. Like, I think about how Pop has been for our team. Like, he looked really good this past week. I'm hoping that this is more of a feature for him going forward now that May's out there. I hope that he finds Kendrick Bourne to be a safety blanket. Yes, Kendrick Bourne was Mac Jones' safety blanket. Just watch the tape.
I think screenplays should go to your tight end and your any of your backfield options is my opinion on screens. I think that bubble screens inevitably put you in a position where you either have to show your hand or the 2 guys blocking for you are also receivers, which I just is like, come on, dude. Like, it's like, what are we asking these guys to fucking do exactly?
Right. Yeah. Correct. So yeah, but like I say, either way, let's say he gets to start Sunday. I'm looking forward to it. Just want to get, even though we're going to get into predictions later on, but we'll just give a quick preview of what we think is going to happen. Again, I'll start with that. So I still think that they lose the game, right? I don't think that they win Sunday.
They're going to lose. I think that we're going to see a couple plays though. I think Mac's going to make it. May's going to make a couple plays. Like, I don't see called a Mac like different era of Patriots QB. No, I think he's going to make a couple of plays, and I think that giving him a chance. I mean, coming in garbage time just to get sacked 4 times or whatever is like not a fair thing to do to the kid. So
even then, 4-7, 22 yards, and then had 2 rushes for 12 yards.
Yes, I mean, it's just like
in a matter of seconds, he's hit more time. So that was just like, it's like, hello. it's like, what?
And I hope he knows.
What are you doing?
The 2 big things in this situation, and it, I'll mention this when we get to Caleb Williams. Mm-hmm. The 2 big things in this situation are knowing how to take a sack so that you don't get fucked up. Like, and just being like, just take it, it's fine. And not trying to play hero ball when those sacks are incoming, because you're just not at the level where you're going to see like a Lamar Jackson, like just takes another step after a stiff arm of a guy and then just throws it and it's a TD. You're not there yet.
That's one of, and like I say, you guys will get into it more of it on the Power Show later on this week, but that play that's one of the best plays I've seen. It was the ultimate backyard football.
100% sick. I love it.
That's what he's elite at. So I just love.
But the stiff arm too. It's like, dude, you let the QB fucking stiff arm you, bro. Like that guy should be running laps as we speak.
Amazing what he's able to do at times. So, but speaking of amazing, I don't care about the opponent. Y'all smacked them. So, Chicago's coming up with a steamroll of a win. Caleb Williams seemed like he's trying to figure it out. I know he had 200 yards in the first half.
He finished it with over 3, and I the second time he's done that. And I think if you told me that in the first 4, how many games we played now? 5. In the first 5 games, he was going to have 2 games where he threw for over 300 yards, and one of them was over 350. I would have been like fucking freaking out at the start of the season.
No, yours truly, I did say that. I just was a few weeks off because I thought it was going to be the first 2 games.
Yes.
But cool, whatever. Next 2, whatever. Either way, it happened, right? So I just felt it. I was just like, things didn't go, completely right for him at USC towards the end. But once again, the individual talent, that man can play.
It's pretty obvious.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious. Like dude could play. So. And once again, the other quarterback that's in that big 3 of the 1, 2, 3. You'll talk about more later on this week. But it's like they're on a great run right now. So I said this is going to be the DK show the next 15 to 20 minutes, because I'm just going to let you rip and run about how they played on Sunday and just what you've seen from them, overall. So like I said, you talked about Caleb was having that coming out party, but DJ Moore, you got on him last week about being predictable and not kind of hot dogging it on route. So speak to his performance, speak to just how the Bears have been playing overall the last few weeks, and what you see. What do you want to see from them in the next phase of the season?
Yeah, I mean, I just thought there was a lot to like in that game. I know that we were playing the Panthers, but we were also playing the fucking Colts, and we were also playing the Titans, and we made them look a lot better than they actually are, right?
Yeah.
You're going to see those two. I mean, you already seen the Titans get found out, and then, lo and behold, the Colts steamed through the Bears and the Steelers, 2 games that they should have lost, and then now they can't, they can't beat a shitty team. It's the tried and true truisms of the NFL, right? We caught him on the wrong week, but to me, my main concern going into these games right now isn't Caleb Williams. Like I know what a good quarterback is. I've seen hundreds of them. I've seen thousands of terrible ones. And I know what a bad quarterback looks like, and I know what a good quarterback looks like. And Caleb Williams has it. Like it's very clear to me that he has it. He can read the defenses at a pretty high level already for being a rookie. They gave him the keys to the offense, which I really do like, even though I am going to come on to criticize the coaching staff a little bit. I think he does have the ability. He's really hard to sack, which I think is a quality you really love in your QB, that you want to be one of the better QBs in the NFL. It seems to always be a quality of, like, Brady in his younger years. I thought he had like that spidey sense. He really just could feel pressure when he wasn't looking. Manning and Roethlisberger were big. So like kind of hard to put down. Roethlisberger obviously being like, more of an example of that. Breeze would get underneath stuff. Like he would always be able to get out of the pocket in the exact right hole in order to like find space. So he was really crafty and like hard to get. These are qualities you need your QB to have. And I think what I really liked from Williams this week was he was extra patient in the pocket, and he already is getting better at sensing the danger. And when he does, he makes the right decision to get out almost every time in this game. I thought that the offensive line was a lot better. There were moments he had all fucking day, which I haven't seen all season. And those moments were the moments you can now go watch as big highlight plays. Like when he had time in the pocket, he found a way to make a play, which is so reassuring. I'm also watching Justin Fields very closely right now, for obvious reasons, because he's the starting QB for now on my wife's team. And, I'm seeing a lot of the same mistakes that I saw from him over the past couple of seasons. I mean, it's not that I didn't still like the guy. If we didn't have an opportunity to draft a generational talent, I would have been happy to keep going with him and seeing what we could do. But it shook out like it shook out, and I'm still seeing a lot of those same mistakes. So the contrast between the two guys are things I'm really noticing, right? Fields probably had a better sideline deep ball, probably still does, than Caleb. He's starting to dial it in, which is really also really reassuring, because he wasn't overthrowing guys. He was just throwing it a little too flat to the sidelines, and those throws looked a lot better. But he's got this cone, middle of the field cone for where to put it. He can drop it in right over defensive backs and linebackers' heads for DJ Moore or whomever to catch it in the end zone, which is sick to watch. The coaching staff was my primary concern coming in, because, the jury's still out on them, quite frankly, to be trusted with the keys to this kid's level of talent. And Waldron was really pissing me off over the first couple of weeks, I think for good reason. I think that they tried to invigorate him with some confidence in his play calling. And I think it helped. I think getting Caleb under center a little bit more helped a lot. You know what? We moved the ball. We did. And I have a stat for you. 11 games in a row, stretching back from last season, the Bears have let up less than 21 points. So that's the longest streak in the NFL right now. Sneaky good defense, which I was trying to tell people. I was really, really high on our defensive backs. And, I might have seen some stuff from Panthers fans, the 7 or 8 of them that actually do exist. I might have seen some stuff from them. The Red Rockets coming in there and carve up that secondary. That secondary doesn't look that good. Yeah, dude, I'm sorry. I had Andy Dalton as my QB for a second. I wasn't nervous. Right. I'm always nervous about these games. They were saying it's their Super Bowl because obviously, they're basically it's looking like the receiving end of probably the worst trade in the history of the NFL. I mean, if Caleb Williams hits his ceiling, that's the worst trade that they've Bryce Young was on the sidelines for this game. It's bad. DJ Moore caught 2 touchdown passes. It's not great.
Speaking of that, the fact you put him in towards the end of the game.
Yeah, that was bad.
And then you say that you wanted to protect Andy Dalton.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
I think that goes to show
that can't once again, there's things you can think, bro. You could think man, probably should get Andy out of there. I want to protect him. But to come to the presser and you verbalize it for fans to digest, for even worse for your backup quarterback, your former number one
Oh,
pick.
he basically said like Bryce is done.
unbelievable. That's unbelievable.
Bryce is done.
Unreal. And and quite honestly, it's unprofessional. Like, why would you verbalize that to the public so that more people can talk about that and speak to how bad you guys have been as an organization and as a team? That's terrible. That's wild. That to me, I couldn't believe that he put him in there. But once again, you're speaking eloquently about your Bears. So keep going.
I agree with you. I think everything you're saying is 100% true. I think to basically come out and affirm that like Bryce Young's never really going to be the starting QB in Carolina ever again is interesting. Yeah. Unless he remains around as an asset they don't want to take such a heavy loss on, and a new regime comes in, and anything can happen. But I
don't get that though. Like, and I don't get why teams teams across the board do that shit. Like football, basketball, it's like, yo, if you think they suck, if you think that I'm not that good, let me go elsewhere.
Yeah, why? They want to save face. I mean, they already obviously are embarrassing. Like we already sort of.
That's what ties back to what we talked about earlier in the show, where like you don't let Mayo go out there the shit either because you want to save face. You're not gonna let him go out there a year because you want to be like, you know what, we made this investment, we want to give him at least 3 or 4 years. So that's what it ties back to. But at the same time, he's not playing no more, so that's different. But as a guy that you thought like, yo, like if you're thinking that he's not that good, like I'm sorry, like one thing, I don't know if Tua comes back. Like I said, I know we'll get into that another time and on a deeper level, but I don't know if Tua comes back, and if he does come back, is he going to be the same? So if I'm Miami, because I'm sorry, like I get Tyler Huntley was he was a pro bowler, but actually let me be respectful because so was Mac Jones. Let me not do that. But he was a pro.
I'd never seen Tyler Huntley speak before. I watched his post game interview. Not the brightest bulb in the bunch.
So probably not, right? So, but it's like damn,
won the game though.
Yeah, it's wild. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just like, wait a minute. Like,
I do.
If I'm Miami,
give the fucking kid a change of scenery. Like, look what is happening with Darnold this year. I mean, everybody wrote him off 1,000%. It was done. We were never gonna talk about him again. But you know what? Maybe in today's NFL, back in the day, I think QBs could change cultures really, really fast when they came in with like a certain talent level. But I do think that there's a few teams around this league, Ray, that like are so dysfunctional that you can't even really put your finger on what the fucking problem is. And the QB is going to get the blame because, QBs can change cultures. I mean, look at what Stroud did last year, but
it's ownership though. And even in Houston, right?
You could probably get a 5th round pick for Bryce Young right now. You should just go get that.
Right. Exactly. But it's to speak to your point that you just made, it's ownership, bro. Like if your ownership is that bad, once again, thankfully, CJ Stroud is that good because Houston's ownership is a joke, right? Bob McNair is a joke. The McNair family is a joke. So it's just like, and I say that with no recipe. Like it is what it is. We ain't never gonna be, so it's cool. But it's just like they lucked out by getting CJ Stroud and him being the guy that he's been and pairing him with DeMeco Ryans, and they're starting to build a great thing down there. But yeah, it's usually an organizational thing, and if you're flawed at the top, right, and not to get education because we talk about education, I'm an educator, but if things are flawed at the top, guess what? It trickles on down, and I'm not talking about Reaganomics, like it trickles down, baby. And
you're not talking about Reaganomics because it actually does trickle down. Like, unlike Reaganomics, where it never did,
right? So that's what goes on. So it's like that's an issue. So. But yeah, I'm with you. I say he should be elsewhere. I say if I'm Miami, I'd give them a call and say, hey, we'll give you a 5th and whatever for Bryce. Yeah, I think that would be a better scene for him.
I would do the same thing.
Yeah, that's once again. I'm gonna have to come out tomorrow. Yeah. I'm gonna have to come on just talk about that alone because man, the massage. The massage king has fell off real bad, but that's again.
I mean, listen. At the end of the day, not to go on a bunch of tangents about all the other teams in the league and the storylines. I think to wrap up my overall feelings on what the Bears look like is they went out there and they showed that their offense could potentially be elite if they can make that happen every week. I mean, of course it was the Panthers. You know, you led with that. I get that. The Panthers aren't good. But we're playing the Jags this week in London.
It's too hard. It's too hard. Like, and I used to be that fan. I'm not gonna lie. Like, oh, it was so and so. But I'm like, seeing what I've seen the last 2 years. Obviously, the team I'm a fan of, and then just some other teams that have kind of fell off this year too. Wins in the NFL are too hard to come by to say, oh, it was just so and so, or it's too hard. Like, these teams that get beaten, we're seeing it even in college football too, right? I'm not going to get into that, but it's just like you're seeing teams that usually don't win on the road in big and Power 5 conferences, and they're coming in and they're handling these bigger teams. So it's I don't know. We're in a different age now where the talent disparity is not as huge as it once was. So everybody can play. Everybody has guys on the team that can, give it to you on any given Sunday. So yeah.
I mean, it's true. It's true, and it's like situations come up when you look into the nitty gritty of things. Who's on a contract year? Like, who's hungry enough that they got to make sure there's food on the table. Fringe guys kind of making plays and coming out of nowhere across different leagues. Teams backed into corners. There's weeks you don't want to play. Like we were just talking about. There's 2 weeks you didn't want to play the Colts. But I bet that's probably 2 out of 17, right? Like every other fucking week, I bet it's looking like it might be all right to play those guys. Their defense is absolute Swiss cheese. Right. So yeah, they had 2 good weeks, and like there's no accounting for it. There's no sort of accounting for like the amount of times what's supposed to happen doesn't happen. So in that vein, I give the Bears the appropriate amount of credit because they went in and did the thing that was supposed to happen, which was win the game and improved to 3-2. I think is the biggest thing.
That's huge.
Yeah, I mean the sticker shock, or for lack of a better term, of like, fuck, dude, we're 2-3. Like, as opposed to like, we have a winning record. Like, winning breeds winning. So yep. I also think, I don't want to get jinxy or get too far ahead of myself. We're going into a game in London, which cool, right? For young Caleb Williams, I think this will be good for his like development to sort of just immediately get whisked away to a foreign country and like get all that going. But the problem is we're playing essentially the home team, right? The Jaguars are in London every single fucking year, so we're going to play the London Jaguars, who obviously don't look that good. Trevor Lawrence is basically a write-off, I think, a tax write-off. For
he did look good Sunday.
They improved in their backfield, which gave them a little bit. I think his name, Bigsby, I think he just looked better than ETN. I just think he's a better running back this year. And I think if Peterson wants to keep his job, he should give that man the keys to the backfield.
Yeah, no, I mean, for sure. But I mean, I think what was it? He started with 370, 375, whatever, something like that. Yeah, that's he's looked in a while. Like that's not debatable.
No. The thing is, he'll have games like that, and that's all well and good, but it's just like, I can't be
on the far in between though. Yeah,
like the Trevor Lawrence Express anymore,
And right? No. I'm definitely not. But I'm saying, to me, I mean, like I said, that's I was just pointing out like that's the best he had looked at in a while. But what was crazy too, like I said, dog, Flacco throwing 33 or 44, 359.
Yeah,
like it's amazing the resurgence he's had the last few years. Like that's incredible to me. But
definitely, I mean, and it's obviously not a fluke because he's doing it in 2 different situations now.
Right, correct. Yeah, I mean, he was never really a scrub.
I don't think he was ever bad. I think that what happened was he won that,
in my opinion. But I mean, damn, he's.
But like, what about how we talk about Eli Manning and how, that guy
basically had category. They're in the same category.
They're in a tier like of themselves, right? Because like they both just. Yeah. I mean, Eli did it twice, so maybe a little bit higher on him. But Flacco and Eli both had elite playoff runs. Like they both had postseasons where they played so well that you would be forgiven for thinking that their regular seasons that preceded them were top 2, right? But they weren't. So and they never were. Neither of those guys ever were one of the best 3 quarterbacks in the league, right? They were in an era where there was a lot of good quarterbacks, though, and I'll say that. And like, I think there's a little bit of sort of veteran quarterback play element in what Flacco's doing, because like he's just mistake free. He's like, he's not forcing the ball in. He's still got arm talent because I don't know.
Well,
you can throw the ball 10 yards accurately until you're 100. You know what I mean? If you put him,
he's always had a top 5 arm
as far as cannon power for sure.
Yeah, ridiculous. Like I mean, listen, I remember the throw and rest in peace. That throw he had Jacoby Jones in Denver. I was like that's. I mean, one, I'm right.
You need Jacoby Jones to be able to catch up to those fucking things too, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
crazy, unreal.
But I mean, we had a guy like that in Cutler. I always was 100% sure that he had top 1 arm strength in the NFL. I really think he had.
I enjoyed seeing him and Brandon Marshall play.
Me too.
How they had they played together, but yeah,
I thought that was a decent Bears team. I mean, we made it to the NFC Championship game and fucking then he went fucking choked. But anyway, I don't want to relive that. But the point is on the Bears, just to wrap up, going to play the home team that we're going to play the London Jags. They should just move them there, honestly. But we're going to play the London Jags.
I think they're trying to do that. I think Tony Khan's trying to do that, honestly.
Yeah. Because like whatever, like they fly in luxury. It's fine. We can just there's gonna be a London game anyway. Like who cares? But yeah, we're going to play the London Jaguars. I think I'm gonna get up for it. It's at 6:30 my time AM. And I'm gonna have to sort of watch a London game with actual interest, which I really haven't done yet, to be totally honest with you, because it's always on too early in the fucking morning. But I'll be doing that. It's the first time the Bears are playing in London. I'm into it. The Jacksonville Jaguars have given up 10 touchdowns to opposing QBs, and they have given up 0. They have taken 0 interceptions. So if Caleb had his breakout game last week, I would like to really see him try to ball out in London just to kick off the day with a sweet Caleb Williams ball out game. I saw him do genuinely elite shit with his arm yesterday, 2 days ago. And it's really exciting, right? Like I'm trying to hold it back. That's kind of like the place that I've never seen a guy with the arm talent that he has played for my team ever.
What once again, it's warranted. So it's once again, I'm not knocking. And if you're a fan of Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, any of these rookie quarterbacks that have been doing the thing, and
I'm not taking anything away from Jaden Daniels, by the way. My man has been balling out. Maybe this is the time that the first 2 QB picks are both sick. It could be true. I know it's never really happened before, but I know it that's cool if that's the case, right?
Right.
These guys rivaling with each other, the whole this is a new era coming in. We want these guys to be good. And the fact that we got Rome 8 picks later, to give him a built-in guy to come in with and just start to develop that, just always be. I mean, it's hard not to get excited. Listen, between me and you, don't tell anyone this except for everyone listening to me speak right now while listening to the podcast. I had to give myself a couple moments. I was watching the DJ Moore touchdown at the end of the day, I was watching the day's scores. Every touchdown from the whole 7 hours. And I'm like, yeah, cool. I want to watch every touchdown today. Love that part.
I might do that when we get off here. I might.
No, it's sick. It's great. But the DJ Moore one that you'll see, he's been able to throw it flat to him. He's not meeting him so much in stride. He's just he's got his man going vertically. So I'm just going to hit him flat and vertically, and it's going to drop in right over the guy's head because he's not close enough to DJ Moore to do anything. And the catches have been solid. But I had this feeling there's this angle of that play that I'm talking about right behind Caleb Williams, right behind the QB, and he throws it. DJ Moore turns around, catches it, falls to the ground, touchdown, clean as shit, no flags. And in watching it back, I was like, is that really the Bears? Is that really the Bears? Did I just see the Bears make multiple plays like that today of that I used to just watch all over the league of guys just laying out, making great catches, perfect spirals over the top, nice running back play, just great defensive stuff. I'm I can't believe I've seen elite defenses before, but I'm actually starting to believe that we might, maybe not this year, but in the next 3-year window might have an elite offense with this kid. I've never had that.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm excited. I'm really excited. I hope it doesn't blow up in my face.
It's a beautiful thing. Well,
it's still the Bears, so it could still just be fuck it, we ruined him too. That could happen. So,
well, we'll see. Let's get into who other weeks may be ruined. We get into week 6, so we're gonna end with the week 6 pick. So, starting off on Thursday night, we have San Fran versus Seattle. So, we're trying to keep this 30 seconds or less of just who we think is gonna win, and then we go from there. So, who do you got in that one?
Man, I got to be honest with you. San Fran's having the year from hell. It's official. It's falling apart for them over there. They might come back. They will. They will come back, and they'll win 2 to 3 games in a row at some point in this season. Obviously, this skid isn't anything to write home about. But honestly, with how the Seahawks have been playing, I know last week not so great, but I don't know. I mean, they're looking for a bounce back game. I think the Seahawks could potentially win this game. I'm going to go with the Seahawks.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Seattle too. I think that they just, this game is always a tough game.
It's also on Thursday, which I think benefits the Seahawks.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like they find a way to get that done. I think they're 3.5 underdogs, so it's pretty close. But I think that they find a way to get it done. So next, we just talked about this, but I think we both have Chicago winning against Jacksonville. So
I hope so.
So we got that going there. So now to the 1:00 slate. Houston, New England. We talked about this earlier. Houston should be winning this game as well. We don't have to go give a deep dive into that. Once again,
we kind of did. Just rewind to the start of the game.
Just going back to the beginning. We talked about it. I said I'm excited to see Drake May, but I think that's where the excitement goes to die after that. I don't think they find a way to win. So next we have the battle of the DMV. So this is gonna be probably one of the games of the weekend for me to watch for sure. Washington going into Baltimore. I think this is where Jaden James has his first slip up, and Baltimore rides like, hey, we're the kings of the DMV, and we still run things around here. So I think Baltimore doesn't win going away, but I got Baltimore in a close one there.
I mean, it's gonna be so sick to see Lamar play against Daniels. That's gonna be a lot of fun. I've had a lot of fun watching both these teams this year. I don't think the Ravens have fully clicked yet, and I do think this might be the Ravens click game. I mean, obviously Derrick Henry has. I'm basically saying they have more to go. Their ground game is going to be too much for this Commanders defense, who for some reason kept 1 or 2 really elite defensive players, but then got rid of both the really good edge rushers. Probably not knowing that they were going to be as dynamic with Jaden Daniels as they actually are, right? They kind of went into a full rebuild and are now sort of hitting the brakes because they keep winning games.
Yeah, funny how that can happen, huh?
I know. But I mean, imagine if they still had Montez Sweat and Chase Young, if they had kept those guys down. They'd look like a pretty scary proposition right now. But unfortunately, I just think conventional wisdom will prevail. I think that yes, they're in for a little bit of a rude awakening is the vibe I get on this game. I'm going with the Ravens. But
they have some other games they'll bounce back, but I think Sunday
the Ravens are just going to have a gear that they're not they haven't seen yet.
Yeah, correct.
As a unit, and when I say they, I mean him.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Agreed. Next, so Arizona, Green Bay. I think this will be a shootout, but I'm going to go with Green Bay, especially at the crib. I'm going with Green Bay.
I'm going to take the Cardinals. I don't like the Packers. I mean, I think the Cardinals look pretty legit. I mean, this is the thing. They're going to be streaky, right? This is what Kyler Murray's Cardinals look like. They look like they can beat the 49ers one week, team we just watched in the Super Bowl in a close game, a walk-off field goal block. It's stuff like that happening is rare, but it happened 3 times, I think, this week. So I think they're coming in on a high. Wait a second. Where is it? In Lambeau? All right, Packers.
Yes,
I don't.
It's at the crib. I was like,
I never moved in Lambeau.
Yeah. So I'm good. So next, you got Tampa Bay versus New Orleans.
This is exciting just because of its divisional implications, I think, because they're kind of scrapping in there.
And then also too, this may be the debut, or I believe it's going to be the debut of Spencer Rattler from South Carolina. So he was their 5th round pick this year in New Orleans. So I think Derek Carr got hurt. So I think that he'll play well. But I mean, I've been the resident Tampa Bay supporter on the show, and this is not a week to fall off that. They're going to win this week in New Orleans. So I'm going to Tampa Bay on that one.
I'm also going to take Tampa Bay. I have not been on as high on them as you have, obviously, for I think obvious reasons. But I've also been the resident Saints hater on this on these shows this year because they were sniffing around the top 10 of the power rankings, and I was like, they're going to look like the Saints in a couple of weeks. Just give it a second, and lo and behold,
I mean, listen,
beat up on shitty teams.
when you have 14 drives scoring all 14 like that, there was no way that was sustainable. Right.
Yeah.
And the fact that people was thinking, I'm like, let's pump the brakes. Once again, looked good, but I was like, that wasn't going to be.
They'll win 8 games because Kamara is like a top 3 back, and they have other good skill players, and I think Derek Carr's playing well, for being Derek Carr. But like, obviously, I mean, it was the most clearly reactionary thing in the world to me when everybody started fucking jizzing about the Saints in the first couple of weeks. I was like, don't see the Saints
overreactions. That's the overreactions. You know how that goes.
They did look good. It's just,
they had.
I mean, week 1 they looked like the only team with a competent offense, quite frankly. But but honestly, I agree. I
agree. Detroit probably has the best offense.
Right.
Yeah.
And do I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are as good as you think that they are? No. I didn't think they looked that good against the Falcons. I also didn't think the Falcons looked that good. I mean, it was a good game, but it was a lot of mistakes to like. I mean, there was we hit the over. It's fucking 66.
I mean, that was one of the better Thursday night games we've had.
It was a great Thursday night game. I loved watching it, but it's because nobody could play defense. It was fucking 36-30. I mean, everybody was scoring.
Yeah, I mean, every now and then you need that.
No, it's fun, but I also think I kind of watched the Bucs sort of come up a little short on it. So so we'll see. I just think Baker Mayfield being like the guy is my issue there, but we'll see. Yeah, I'm still taking the Bucs though.
So totally get that. This is to me is a ball game. Like when I say right, and for those who listen to the show, when I say ball game, I mean it's a wrap. Cleveland versus Philly. Listen, Philly should win this. Like the fact that it's
Philly bounce back game for sure.
It's 8.5 is like wow. They think they're gonna get smoked. So I'm going with Philadelphia, especially at the link. Like let's come on. So go head over to Max's in Germantown. Get on the Rock Street line, which is the train out there. Go get you a Philly cheese. Sit back and enjoy because it's curtains. Like the Cleveland, I play. Like maybe this is the game we see Jameis, right? Maybe this is the game that Jameis comes in.
It should have been 2 games ago, dude.
Facts. But
you know who the holder of the top 2 least yards efficiency per dropback numbers are for the Cleveland Browns in their whole history? The guy who holds both number 1 and number 2 is Deshaun Watson 2024, Deshaun Watson 2022. So, it's not, the guy can't play QB anymore. And honestly, if I was the rest of the NFL, I'd be furious at him for basically making sure that nobody gets a guaranteed contract ever again. That's essentially going to be Deshaun Watson's legacy.
The first guy, it was Kirk Cousins that got that deal when he got the 3 years, 84.
It's never happening again.
But once again, if you Kirk, I mean, granted they didn't win, but Super Bowl obviously, but numbers wise, he lived up to it. His stats, right? And once again, he seemed to wake up a little bit. Obviously, when he's over 509, like that's incredible.
He doesn't give a fuck.
He
doesn't give a fuck.
Who, Kirk Cousins?
No, sorry. No, I thought you meant Deshaun.
Oh, sorry. Oh, no, he does. He doesn't. And you can tell, right? And it's a shame because once again, it's like, dude, you got 230 guaranteed, so that's 46 a year.
I wouldn't give a fuck either, but it's wild.
It's wild.
It's a wrap though. It's done.
There's too many jobs. And once again, I'll move on shortly, but there's too many jobs on the line. And I'll say this every week that I'm on here. There's too many jobs on a week-to-week basis in the NFL that are on the line for you to play half-ass, for you not to show up, for you to look inept on offense or defense or special teams. Like, it's a problem. Like, that is your only job, is to be good at this game. That's all week for 17 weeks. It's you to be the best you can be on a Sunday, Monday, or Thursday, or an occasional Saturday, depending on when the game is. Like, I don't understand how you can fall that far from grace when that's really your main priority. But once again, that's the whole another thing. Like I said, we don't know everything that's going on, but obviously his time in Cleveland obviously is coming towards an end, whether they think so or not. So next on the 1:00 slate, and this is the last game on the 1:00 slate, Indy versus Tennessee. Who got in that one?
Oh God, who even cares? Probably the Colts.
Yeah, I mean, let's just listen. Especially if Flacco's playing like that. I mean, I want to see Anthony Richardson, but I think Flacco lights them up and have that. So next, we got the Chargers versus Denver. I'm going with the Chargers here. I think that they have a bounce back game after last week. So I'm going to roll with the Chargers there.
I'm going to take Denver. I think they've looked really frisky. You know,
Yeah,
I think they look like a team you kind of don't really want to play. You know.
Yeah, I just can't believe.
They're 3-2. You know, I mean,
yeah, I can't believe they're 3-2. I can't believe that they won a game in New York.
They beat your precious Buccaneers.
Right. No, yeah, that too. Yeah, they beat them, but no, I'm saying, but to beat, your favorite QB Aaron Rodgers, and we're both Nick throwing for 60 yards, and they held to 9 points. Wow. So that to me, I was like, that's unbelievable. But hey, it is what it is.
But also, like, let me paint you a picture. If they do win this game, I mean, the Chargers can see it's anybody's game here. Probably,
right?
It probably is the Chargers' conventional wisdom. But here's a fun little fact: if they do win that game, they then play the Saints and then play the Packers, or sorry, the Panthers before they play the Ravens. So going into the Ravens game, they could be 6-2. That's going to be annoying to have to talk about. Yeah. Like, that's going to be annoying to have to talk
especially if Bo Nix actually look a little bit better. I'm a blow a gasket. So it's just like that. So especially
thankfully then, like, right after that, because we can just put a stopper on it, because then they go Ravens, Chiefs, Falcons, which I think is just a 3-game losing skid for them for sure. But they get to play the Raiders twice.
It might be 1 or 2. Yeah,
maybe, but they get to play the Raiders twice. You know, I mean, there's that's helpful.
Yeah, that helps. It helps. Yeah,
they're playing the Browns this year. You know, I mean,
especially when they got to make business decisions out there and
right.
So right, yeah, I love that quote. Actually, I need it on a t-shirt. So next, ironically, here we go. Business decisions. Raiders versus the Steelers. This is a ball game for me too. Listen, especially coming off of how they lost last week against Dallas.
Heartbreaker, though.
I think Steelers blow them out the building, even though it's in I'll say LA. Even though it's in Las Vegas. I'm going with Steelers Nation. They're gonna.
Who do you think is gonna start for Pittsburgh? A QB.
I think it won't matter. They'll dominate whoever. It doesn't matter.
Right, fair enough. The Raiders are fucking terrible.
I honestly, even though I like to see Russ have a few good games, whatever how I feel about him, but I just rather see Fields figure it out this moment and just keep balling. Like, why not? Yeah. Let him be the next pairing for Mike Tomlin. Let him be the next guy.
I think it's a good idea to mention, because like you have running troubles. And like Russell Wilson isn't going to solve that for you in 2020.
Right, correct. So not now anyway. It wasn't not this version of him. So you know what I'm saying? What's that? So next, and I can't believe it's only a 6-point spread, but Atlanta and Carolina.
Is that really only a 6-point spread?
Yeah. So
Atlanta's
going to win, but next Sunday. Oh no, Sunday night game. No, we're not there yet. So last game on the 4:00 slate. So we have Lions versus Cowboys.
I'm going to take the Lions just because I think they're the better team, but the Cowboys have looked better the last 2 weeks.
Yes, they have. I mean,
Dowdle ran really well against Pittsburgh. It looks like they might have some guys that can fill in for Cooks. Right. You know, I think Dak looked okay. He still kind of sucks. I don't really like him, but the defense looked like they could actually like get it together. Running game looked better. You know, they finally started to like look a little bit like the team they're supposed to be on paper. So
right. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I'm still riding with Detroit as well. I just think offensively they're on a different level. But it's still a struggle for Dallas offensively, in my opinion. Once again, they got lucky Sunday night, especially with recovering that fumble. Once again, credit to Dak for jumping in and grabbing that, because we've seen other instances where QBs don't jump in for that, and we know the result with that. So yeah, I think that was huge to see him still be locked in, still want it. And then, atone for his football sins, so to speak, on Sunday night. So then Sunday night, I don't know how this became a Sunday night game, because, I mean, I get it maybe because it's Burrow, I guess. But Cincinnati going into MetLife.
Bengals are going to win 64-61. Yeah. Because they have an atrocious defense.
No way the Giants score 60 points. But
I bet you're happy you got Jamar Chase, though. He's going to light it up again.
Listen, and I thought
but also Malik Neighbors owners, please play him this week. That is a necessity.
It still should be good, but yeah, Cincinnati should win by 2.
The Bengals are good for a shootout every week, though. You gotta love that, as a neutral.
Oh, for sure. But I mean, they should win like 31-20.
But maybe that's why they got the Sunday Night Football slot there. Like, fuck it, whoever they play, it's gonna be a fucking gunfight. So like people will watch.
I'll take it. So then last but not least, Monday night, we have the Buffalo Bills going into The Jets, and like I said, there's a lot of a lot of news with them. They fired their head coach today as we record this on a Tuesday. So just who you got in that game?
I think we will talk more about the Saleh head coach situation tomorrow. If you want to join, Ray, you're obviously more than welcome. If you got the itch to really explore these outside of network games, we will be doing it.
Especially that, because I do have a lot to say.
Yeah, we could start the show with that tomorrow. So that'll be on your feed, ladies and gentlemen. The Bills are going to stomp the Jets for all the obvious reasons.
Right.
I don't think Saleh was a good coach, but I don't think all the things that were happening were his fault. And I think Aaron Rodgers is a fucking doofus, and he hasn't been good in 3 years. This isn't a random drop off. His last 2 seasons, I'll even take away, that's taken away his injury year. In 3 seasons of playing football, he has not been Aaron Rodgers. Right. So he blamed the coaches in Green Bay. He blamed the system implementation in Green Bay. He blamed the culture, and then he got himself a fucking out. And now it's the same thing. It's the culture's fault. It's the coach's fault. It's whatever. So the thing is like, if it wasn't Rodgers being Rodgers, he'd be like, I didn't want that to happen. I didn't make that call. Right. That's not something I made. But no, it's silence from the Aaron Rodgers camp, from the Aaron Rodgers ayahuasca tent. So the Bills are gonna fucking smash them. They didn't look so good the week before, but they were coming off a pretty bad beatdown from the Ravens. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking that it was an uncharacteristic Josh Allen game, and we're gonna see him get back on track, because across the first 3 weeks he looked like the best QB in the NFL. So right. I don't know if that just disappears. I think and it's because it's a divisional game. I think it's gonna be I think you're probably gonna want to have a movie lined up for the second half, because it's probably gonna be a 30-point difference by the time the third quarter kicks off. And
I'll just be watching Monday Night Raw. But
there you go.
That's, I mean, like I said, it should be like I said, a slaughter, like you mentioned. Sometimes teams rally when a coach gets fired, but I think that there's a lot of things that we are not privy to that we'll find out as the weeks unfold.
The fact that we know that he was escorted out of the building by security is that's fucking crazy. It's classless, quite frankly, from the New York Jets. Really, really classless. And it's classless in a way, Mike and I was testing Mike's theory on it, this all being Rodgers is sort of doing in the group chat today. I was like, do you think was this maybe, or do you think it was this? And he was like, no, I think it was Rodgers. And honestly, it's the exact sort of classless behavior that comes from a guy that was telling everybody that the very real deaths from a virus weren't real, and like spreading bullshit misinformation and just saying stupid shit into our ears for the last 4 years. So yeah, quite frankly, I mean, it's a classless fucking move. You don't think the guy's performing well in a very high stakes job, and you want to make a change. That's your right. That's your prerogative as a football team. But come on, man. Why do I know that you escorted him out by security? That's embarrassing for him, and he didn't do anything to deserve that. So.
Yeah, and listen, I mean, I don't know where he goes next. I think that he's obviously proven as a coordinator, which is why he got the head coaching job. I said it to some of my other past.
He'll land on his feet, but that's damaging. I don't appreciate.
No, of course. But I'm saying, like, if I'm Robert Kraft, I'd at least call. I'd call, because once again, and this is not a knock on Marcus Covington, because he hasn't had long enough to have a cachet as a coordinator, but. Listen, we know what Saleh was as a coordinator in San Francisco. And defense was not the problem in New York. It was the offense. Once again, that's not an opinion, that's a fact. So I would love to have someone else who could pick his brain there. And once again, he'd be free because he still is on contract for the Jets. So that's what you do, Robert Kraft. That's a Robert Kraft special. Pay, bring in guys that you don't have to pay. So bring him in. He could be a consultant, whatever role you want to give him. But I think that would be awesome, especially when they come back here in a few weeks. But I think that would be a great way to pay back what had happened, win or lose, right? But like I said, it's just typical Jets being a Jets. So like I said, we'll get into more of that, later on in the week. But yeah, get excited for week 6. Like I said, we're excited. We gave, we're about to close this out, but yeah, I'm excited for week 6. Like I said, hopefully Drake May does his thing. Hopefully Caleb Williams does his thing, and it's a great brand of football. Hopefully no major injuries. So for DK Sizzle, I'm Hollywood Rayshawn Buchanan. And until next time, we'll see you. Peace.
Hi, I'm Sherilyn Fenn from Twin Peaks. What did you do on your last Saturday night?
Did you hear something?
Toilet paper.
There's nada. The reserves have gone dry. People are hoarding it. I should have done that.
They're all out of hand sanitizer at my Target.
Mark, when did you last watch the news?
We are getting reports of forced quarantines in China, Japan, and now Italy.
You're cutting onions in half and putting them around your apartment.
Yes, exactly. It kills the COVID.
Excuse me?
Let's go, get in.
Vamos, rápido.
Have you ever driven one of these?
Never.
I'll drive, ladies.
I've got the keys.
Excuse me, I'm lost. I'm looking for my wife. I got turned around.
Join me, Eric Roberts, Jennifer Elise Cox, and Ed Asner for The Last Saturday Night, an Electrocast podcast. You'll love it. Electrocast. Electrocast.